What's up, everybody? My name is Greg. This is the Occult Truth Movement. So I felt like I had to make this video. Now I want to tell you guys a little bit about myself. So I was in public speaking for a long time. I've been in sales since I was 18 years old. I'm 35 now. So from the time I was young till now, I've always enjoyed talking to people. I've always enjoyed speaking to crowds. You know, I used to speak to groups of hundreds. I used to speak to groups of thousands when I did volunteer work for United Way and the Brighton Center and nonprofit organizations. I used to travel around and I used to talk to people to get donations for these nonprofits. Now, one thing that they teach you in public speaking is that you've got to use your hands. You've got to be animated. You don't just want to stand there like this because you'll bore the hell out of people. You know, now this is something that I truly love to do, you know, but people are convinced there is a wide variety of people that apparently have little bitty brains that think that anybody who throws up a hand sign, which means okay, is doing it for 3 6s, 666. Now, granted, it does look that way. It looks like 666. I see where people can get that from. But just because somebody does that does not mean that they are part of some secret cabal here to rule the world and to destroy God's chosen people. Like, it's nothing like that. Now, if there is a group of people out there that use this hand symbol for the reason of throwing up 3 6s to be satanic or evil or whatever their purpose is for that, that's on them. That's a small group of people. That is not for the whole wide variety, because if you go and watch any motivational speaker, any president, anybody who speaks to crowds, they do this. It's not like they'll do it subconsciously. Like, they don't even realize that they're doing it. You know, it's because you're taught to talk with your hands. You're taught to be animated. You don't want to bore people. So when people are doing hand gestures like this, whether it's like this or like this or like this, it's because they want you to pay attention to what they're saying. They want you to hear them. You know, because you're not just going to pay attention to somebody just because they go like this. You've got to be animated about it, and you've got to pay attention. You know, and that's why people do it, because it does something psychologically to your brain that causes you to pay attention. Ooh, I better pay attention. You know, there are a lot of psychology tricks that you learn when you're in sales that you can get people to be very empathetic to your situation, and you can just touch them in an emotional way just simply by putting your hand by your heart to show them that you are deeply sincere about what you're talking about. And if you change the tone of your voice and the look on your face and you show people how passionate you are about certain things, it does something psychologically to people. You know, but for some reason you've got people over here that think every hand gesture and symbol is something satanic. But then you've got people over here that actually know the psychology behind public speaking. And that's what this is. Because even on YouTube, even though I'm not speaking to a wide crowd of people, I'm speaking to a little box that I know is going to reach a large group of people. So it's the same concept. There's not much different when it comes to that. You know, but for some reason everybody seems to think, not everybody, but a large group of people seem to think that anybody who does this is throwing up 3 6s because they're obviously some kind of Illuminati Freemason that wants to kill Christians or something. It's ignorance. It's pure ignorance. Like, I had this dude convinced. He was telling me I was a Freemason. There was no convincing him. I'm like, dude, I'm not a Freemason.
Yes, you are. You're a Freemason. You're going to sit here and tell me that you're not a Freemason. You're going to sit here and tell me that you're not a Freemason. I seen the hand gestures. I seen the hand signs. That is obviously Freemason. 17 seconds into your video, and you are doing Freemason signs.
So you're talking about this, because when I did this. And now here's my thing. I challenge anybody out there, any one of yous out there, to find me some kind of occult literature or some kind of Freemason pamphlet or book or video by Freemasons. Not a truther video or a Christian website video or a YouTube video where people are interpreting and saying that Freemasons do it. No, I want somebody to find me an occult book or a Freemason book that shows that they take ownership in this symbol and that it means 666. Because I looked all over online to try to find it, because I wasn't going to make this video if I found it. And then I was just going to like explain myself, like, look, I'm not doing this because I'm a Freemason. I didn't even realize this was a Freemason sign. But I looked and there's nothing out there. Not from a legit Freemason site. You'll find a million truther videos and a million truther pictures and articles and stuff like that. They're all over the place. That shows this as some kind of evil hand symbol of the devil. You know, but I'm talking legit book from Freemasonry that shows that this means 666 and that they do it in the purpose of that, because you're not going to find it. You're not. I promise you, you won't. Like, I looked. And here's the thing is, I am very open about my spirituality. I'm very open that I study the occult, that I study magic, I study witchcraft. I love mystical things. I love working with spirits. I love ceremonial magic. Like, I love this shit. You know, it's just a different, it's hard to explain unless you do it. But the thing is if I'm so open about that, then why in the fuck would I deny being part of the Freemasons? Like, I looked into the Freemasons. There are like 4 lodges around here. They got a really, really cool one over in Covington that has 2 of the Sphinxes sitting out front. It's badass looking. Like, but every time I would drive by there, or anytime I would be like down here in Newport and by the Masonic Lodge, and I would see the Masons out there, because they have these big barbecues where they charge like $10 a plate and shit, I had seen nothing but old people. And I know they wear their cool little gowns and they do these mock rituals. No, I want to do real rituals. I don't want to be standing there with Grandpa Joe with his breathing machine in his wheelchair, and then over here, Grandpa Jim with his one leg from World War II on his little go-kart thing with a breathing machine on. Like, I don't want to, why would I want to go hang around a bunch of old people? You know, if I was ever to join any kind of society, it would be one that practices magic. It would be like your Golden Dawn or Rosicrucians or something spiritual, Thelema, IoT, something like that. I'm not going to waste my time going and paying to be a Freemason to hang around a bunch of old people that don't even truly believe in the rituals that they're performing. Because don't get me wrong, the rituals that they do, from what I know of them, because they're very secretive about them, but from what I know about them is they got a legit layout when it comes to a magic ritual. But in order for a magic ritual to work, you have to have faith in that ritual. You've got to believe that it's going to work. And these guys, I don't think that they do. You know, they just come off as kind of like some snobby old men. Like, that's it. You know, so trust me, if I was a Freemason, I would tell people. Like, I wouldn't care. I would wear my Freemason get-up, and I would go and I would point out how everybody, all the different stuff that they're wrong about when it pertains to Freemasonry. You know, it's just there is a large group of Christian truthers who think they got it figured out. They tie everything into Freemasonry. They don't go any higher, any lower than Freemasonry. It's like the Freemasons are it. The Illuminati is Freemasons. every celebrity and every singer on the entire planet that has ever made this symbol or ever covered their eye in one way, shape, or form is a Freemason. They don't look to really see if these people are actually members of a Freemason lodge. They just immediately assume that because they're doing hand gestures and because they pose for pictures in certain ways that they automatically got to be tied in with Freemasonry. That is one of the dumbest things I think I have ever heard in my life. And in a sense, I got drawn into that for a while because, when I was a Christian truther, I thought that was it. I thought that the Freemasons were it until I started looking into stuff myself. And I started to realize that there's a lot more, more powerful, mystical groups out there throughout the world that can use magic and that would potentially be more Illuminati-like than the Freemasons. That's why it's my theory that the Freemasons are the fall guys. That's why all you hear about is Freemasonry, because the other groups that are really behind it, they're not putting themselves out there. It's like the Freemasons, they're all old, they're all on their way out the door, they're all on their way to die. Why not? Let's just throw them under the bus. As long as everybody's paying attention to them, they're not going to worry about what we're doing over here. And that's exactly what's happening. Everybody's so worried about the Freemasons. Oh, square and compass, triangle with an eye in it. Oh my God, Freemason, Illuminati. It's pure ignorance. You guys just don't realize how stupid it is. Once I started doing research on my own and I started looking into books and I started seeing the symbols and I started seeing, how they really do things in the occult, I realized that I was so misinformed because, like this idiot that kept calling me a Freemason, I was convinced by all these truther videos that are all over the internet that they were right. I didn't do not 1 ounce of my own personal research. I just took their word for it. And that's the problem with the Christian truth movement, is because nobody looks into books like this. Nobody looks into occult literature. They go to different truther websites, they see what they have to say, they take it as truth, and they put it out there in their own words. That's it. That's why you'll see these same conspiracy theories all over. Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe that there is a shadow government. I do believe that there is a group of people who do want to control the world. Whether they're called the Illuminati or what, I don't know. Are they Freemasons? I don't know. So I do believe in the conspiracy theories, which is honestly really the truth. It's just deemed conspiracy theories by your mainstream media. I do believe that there's a lot of shit going on. I just believe that there are a lot of people that are misinformed by what they see on the internet, that they take on blind faith, and they believe that just because it's said it on this website, and just because you can find 20,000 videos that all say this means 666, that's what it must mean. Look, I don't know whether or not there are groups of people who use this for 666, but I'm not one of them. I do it because of public speaking, because I was taught to use my hands. When you're speaking to a crowd, you want them to pay. You want to be animated. You want them to pay attention to you. You don't want to bore them by standing still the entire time. You've got to be talking to them. So you do different hand gestures to get them to pay attention to you. Because that's what it's about. It's getting people to pay attention to you. It's not about throwing up secret hand signs to get people cursed by the devil. Blah. That's pure ignorance. There is a psychology to public speaking. There's a psychology to it. And you use your hands and your body language and your facial expressions and the tone of your voice to touch the to manipulate the psychology of people. You can call it mind control, in a sense it is. But that's how you get people to pay attention to you. That's how you get big sales. That's how you get standing ovations. Because if you just stood there like this the entire time and talked all monotone, people would walk out. People won't pay no attention to you whatsoever. They'll be like, "That guy still talking?" It's just, there's a lot more to it than that, and a lot of people just don't want to believe it. Like, this dude he just did not want to believe it. And in the end, he commented on my video where I talked about Christianity and why I left Christianity, and I had spoken in the video about it being the people themselves are the reason that I left Christianity. And he just kept commenting, telling me I'm a Freemason. You're a Freemason, you're a Freemason. And then in the end, he started to get mad because I kept, like, kind of busting his chops. So then he got mad, like, "Ooh, I owned you. I owned you." Then he got all aggressive and started being a dick about it. And I'm like, see, you proved my point right there. Like, I completely manipulated that conversation and made this guy react how I knew that he would. Like an asshole. Excuse my language, but like an asshole. It's just, you all people really got to wake up. You live your life day by day trying to wake people up, but in reality, you're feeding them disinformation because you've been very much misinformed. Like, a lot of the stuff that you think means one thing doesn't really mean that. It means other things. Until I started diving into books from the occult, from the great magician writers of our time and from time immemorial, I didn't realize how misinformed I was when it comes to the symbolism. Like, yes, we do live in a world that there's symbols everywhere. A lot of magic symbols everywhere. Sigils everywhere. Which is something I never hear people talk about. And hardly ever hear people talk about sigils. And they are literally everywhere. And it's magic. It's chaos magic. Like, we do live in a world of symbols, but you have to learn what the history of these symbols are to really put a definition to them. Now, sure, I guess if you get enough people that point at one symbol and say it means something, I guess technically a symbol is what it means to you, but it can be completely different meaning to somebody else. And a lot of these symbols have been around since the beginning of time, and I tend to follow the tradition of these symbols. So when somebody tells me that a pentagram is satanic, no, it's not. Because a pentagram at one point in time was only used for protection. There's churches in Germany that have pentagrams on them. Why? If it's so evil, if it's so satanic. No, the satanic church took it and used it for their own. And most of them don't even believe in anything spiritual anyways. They're all just a bunch of atheists. At least the Satanic Temple is. I know the Satanic Church has more of a spiritual side to it. Like, I don't know. I don't get into Satanism. It's not my thing. But, respect for whoever does. I don't judge anybody for, what their practice is. But that's just a prime example of how symbols can get turned into something else. So that's all I really got for this video. Please forgive the fountain in the background. It's my Buddha fountain. I'm going to show you guys it. Oh, I hope you can see it. But, yeah, there you go. You can see it good there. But yeah, so if you're wondering what's drizzling in the background, I promise I'm not standing around a bunch of people peeing. That's what it was. So anyways, that's all I got for this video. I hope I cleared up some of the hand gesture stuff with some of you guys. And woke some people up, because it really gets annoying getting accused of being part of a secret society just because you did this. It's pure ignorance. So that's all I got for this. I'll talk with y'all later. Peace out.